All right, let's get this thing started. Thank you, stream, for being patient. We were all a little busy discussing our pick'em pools for groups and kind of talking trash about what everybody thought was going to happen. I'm going to be getting us started here for the second episode of UnCEALed, where we go over the playoff previews for every division. Joining me, I'm going to talk about the Demacia division mainly, but talking about Noxus tonight is going to be Lightning.
Hello.
After that, we're going to talk about Shurima. So ZZ Dog is going to talk about Shurima.
Heyo.
And then finishing up tonight will be Ionia, where we have A1 support.
What's going on, guys?
All right. So, yeah, let's get things started. It looked like Demacia was going to have to play a bunch of tiebreakers, but ends up not being the case. So I'm going to have to explain that first, I guess. So Men's Women's Torment was the clear leader in that division, 9-1, only lost one game. They have the first place seed locked down. It's totally theirs. After that, we have Amber 02, Incendium Gaming, and Sentinels all tied at 6-4. And we, after looking at the rules for how we figure that out, tiebreakers are always determined by like the team's head-to-head matchup. But in a three-way tie, we look at all three of those teams' records against each other. And it ended up being that Sentinels record when they played against Amber 02 and Incendium Gaming was 3-1. So Sentinels is actually sitting in the second place seed going into playoffs. Amber 02's record was 2-2. So they're sitting in the third place seed, and Incendium Gaming is 1-3. So they're sitting in the fourth place seed, which means that the playoff bracket for quarterfinals is going to be Men's Women's Tournament against Incendium and Sentinels against Amber 02. So, I'll take a little bit of time here to talk about these matchups. So Men's Women's Tournament up against Incendium. The clear advantage that Men's Women's Tournament has is Men's Women's Tournament's clear advantage is that their players can all trade positions with each other. Every single player on the team can play like, AD carry or mid or top or like jungle or mid or support or something like that. They can all trade around depending on what gets banned and what doesn't get banned. So that's a huge advantage. It's very hard to plan for their team. It's very hard to strategize against their team. Hopefully they'll be able to keep leveraging that if they want to win this season, because that's been the main reason why a lot of teams have struggled to beat them. Incendium Gaming, on the other hand, just looking at the players that they have on their roster, their mid laner Hero Gamer Man has a fantastic Yasuo in his pocket. Yasuo is always going to be a champ that has to be on your radar when you're facing them. If Yasuo goes through, I can see Incendium winning a game just purely based on that Yasuo and building a team around it. At the same time, Dillracker is a really good AD carry. And even in the AD carry position, he's got a 66.9% kill participation percentage on the team. It's the highest one on the team. So they could also play a lot around him. And the rest of the team is just really solid all around. They're a solid team. Again, like they're sitting at a 6-4 record, so they know how to get it done. They know how to play the game. They know how to plan for these things. So I'm hoping that we see some spicy games between these two guys because they got a week to prepare. So I can't wait to see what Incendium decides to pull out of their pockets for this game. The other matchup on the other side of the bracket is going to be Sentinels versus Amber 02. And while I might sound a little bit biased because I'm the team captain for Sentinels and, I play on the team, I can say that, we went 2-0 against Amber 02 earlier in the season. We played them in week 2 and we 2-0'd them. But I'm still not 100% confident that this is going to be another 2-0 series in quarterfinals for us. I think we're going to go to all 3 games. And the reason why is because their mid laner, on paper, their mid laner Kazooie is ranked silver 3, and on paper, I'm ranked gold 4. So you would assume there's a bit of a mismatch there. But when we faced off in week 2, we were pretty even. Mid lane is. I feel like the mid lane matchup is going to be entirely determined by the junglers and what the junglers decide to do, or how much I would roam or how much Kazooie would roam to help out the rest of the team. After that, ATX Gamer up in top lane is a really good matchup for my team's top laner, for Deodatus. I feel like they're going to break basically even all games that they play. I feel like Zeralon down in bot lane is a really, really good AD carry. I think Zeralon is in like major contention for all-star AD carry for our division. And I feel like my AD carry is the same. I feel like they are both in contention for the all-star AD carry spot. So I'm expecting bot lane to be explosive. Like I just really hope that this goes to a 3-game series. Obviously, because I'm playing in it, I don't want it to go to 3 games. I want it to be a for sure thing. But I feel like this is going to be a really, really exciting matchup to actually watch and pay attention to. After that, I don't know how finals are going to shape up. I don't want to guess which 2 of the 4 teams are going to finals. I don't want to guess because it honestly could be it could be my team going to finals. It could be Amber on that side of the bracket. It could be men's women's tournament on their side going to finals. I'm obviously they're the favorite, being in the number 1 seed with only 1 loss in the regular season. But Incendium could just as easily have a major upset and make it to finals themselves. I think the Demacia division is a lot closer than the standings that you see on paper. I really think it's going to be super exciting to watch. But yeah, so that's my basic analysis for Demacia division. I mean, I could talk a little bit about all-star votes or like early contenders for that, but I think it's I already mentioned a little bit about that. AD carry is like a pretty contentious spot. I don't know who's going to get it because there are a lot of good AD carries in this division. Yeah. After the AD carry, I don't really know like other spots, like who's actually a front runner and who isn't, because it seems like every top laner is like around the same level. It feels like every jungler is around the same level. It feels like every mid laner is right around the same level. It feels like every support's right around the same level. So like I really don't know. But yeah, so that's what I got for Demacia. Really excited to see what days all those games get scheduled on. So let's switch over here. Lightning, go ahead, tell us about Noxia, because their playoff picture's a little interesting.
Actually, in the Noxian division, everyone gets to the playoff series because 2 of the teams got kicked out for various irregularities. Bronze 5 Age has the most wins. They've only lost to 1. They're a team that's been playing together for a very long time, probably like 4 or 5 years, and they're very good. They play together well, and they're good at winning games off of that.
I mean, it's always entertaining, and it's always a fiesta with Bronze 5 Age.
Yeah, kind of fiesta prone. Really good team fighting though, and they just draft the team fight comps over and over and over again, and run 5v5 team fights and are good at it and win that way. It's a pretty simple strategy, but it seems to work fairly well.
Something about that sounds familiar in streamer.
Running 5v5 team fight strats and just running at each other and hoping to do well. Yeah, NA style ARAM games.
Yeah, NARAM, baby, NARAM.
And then comes Stars United Esports Club. I don't really know a ton about them, but they've managed a pretty good season with 7 wins and 3 losses. The wins are inflated because against the teams that got kicked out, you automatically get wins, sort of.
Yeah, yeah.
So the wins are going to be a bit inflated for the Noxian division. I think it's inflated by 2, I believe.
Wait, how would both bottom teams that got kicked out go 0-10?
They both got DQ'd.
Yeah, they both got disqualified, so they have to forfeit all their games.
Yeah, yes. But how does it balance out the rest of the league?
Everyone gets to playoffs. That's what happens.
Yeah, so Bronze 5 Age, Stars United, Renegados, and Enigma are all in playoffs automatically at that point because they're the top 4 teams.
What I mean is like Keyboard Cats versus Anarchy.
They don't play.
Yeah, but I know they didn't play, but just like you can't have two teams that won't winless. It's just like stats wise, it kind of confused me.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but like it doesn't matter if we give one of those teams like 2 wins over the other one because like it doesn't matter. So.
It doesn't
One of
matter.
them
It's
gets
just
awarded
like,
2 teams for taking
wait a
longer to
second.
get caught. Cup of Pride.
Yeah. So like I mean I guess if you want to be technical, both of those teams should say like 2 and 8 because like they would have faced each other at one point, you know, right? Or like 1 and 9 or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But
It's just completely irrelevant.
yeah, it's kind of irrelevant.
Okay, yes. And then Enigma and Renegatus. I'm on Team Renegatus, so I might be biased here, but we have to play a tiebreaker game, and we haven't played it yet. So
Yeah, that's the one tiebreaker game that still has to be scheduled, right?
yes,
Yeah.
no one actually scheduled it. The team captains are reluctant to actually schedule anything. Slightly annoying. I think the tribunal will eventually hassle them.
We'll make them. They have to schedule it. It has to get done. They'll schedule it. It's fine.
Okay. And then for Team Renegatus, my team, we switched our positions around, and it's not reflected in the Casual Esports Amateur League website yet. I think someone, namely our captain, didn't change his roles on the role list, so he didn't move.
Okay, to be fair, it is a little bit convoluted how you do that as a
Yes.
captain. So I can understand not going through the trouble of
Yeah,
spending
it's
like 15
not a
minutes
big
finagling
deal, but
everything.
I'm playing top lane, Goose is AD carry, and Charn is support. That's the way we've been playing for the past few games. And we've played Enigma once before, and we went 1-1. It was some pretty good games. I'm looking forward to the games. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll probably be a pretty good match. But everyone gets to go through playoffs, so that's kind of nice in a way.
Yeah, and your division's playoff bracket is also double elimination because you got like your whole division didn't get to play many games during the regular season because of the 2 teams that got disqualified.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're giving all of you a chance to like get more games in by putting you guys in a double elimination bracket.
Yeah. Probably Bronze 5 Age is going to win. That's my expectation. I think they're going to win. I don't see people beating them consistently enough to be able to take it away. But that's kind of my opinion on the Noxian division.
All right. Oh, let me give everybody in Noxus like a little hint on how to handle Bronze 5 Age because I have some experience in these matters. Their team comms are just them messing around and joking the whole time. They don't have any strategy when they play the game. They literally just like see what happens and hope it works out.
Something about that sounds familiar.
So if you take the time to come up with a game plan going into the game, they're not going to know what to do because they're going to be flying by the seat of their pants no matter what happens. So do that. That's my advice. I mean, I got to trash talk Bronze 5 Age a little bit because I love those guys, but
Do you have any like all-star votes we want to shout out quick?
Everybody from Bronze 5 Age because they're in first. I don't know.
Yeah, who has anyone gotten a bunch of all-star votes yet? Has that been done?
No, all-star votes will be happening during this off week. We will be putting out the surveys during this week that we have off for all-star voting. So stay tuned for that in the community announcements channel, everybody. But yeah, so like Bronze 5 Age is obviously like they're all on the board because they're at 9-1. So like, why wouldn't you consider any of them, right? But like, there are good players on other teams. I mean, like I know Soul Reaver in the jungle, playing for Stars United. I know he's a really good jungler. I know he knows what's up there. So he's a good contender for that. I mean, Team Renegade is your team. Who would you put up from your team as like an all-star vote? Like a front runner for all-star votes on your team. Like, try not to be too biased about it, but like, you got to have like 1 or 2 players in mind, right?
Probably Diving. He's just played pretty well. He's played pretty consistently, and his Malzahar is really good.
All right.
And he's helpful with coordinating some stuff.
All right.
But Yeah, that's probably who we would try to get nominated.
All right. Not naming
Yeah.
yourself. I like how humble that is. I like that. You could have easily just said, "Oh, it's me,
I
baby."
got kicked out of
but-
the support role for being, for having like anti-synergy with my AD carry. So yeah,
All right.
it was pretty awful. We and we couldn't really get time to play together, so we just swapped around roles because it just wasn't working.
Yeah. All right. All right. And then like I recognize some of the names from Enigma as well. Like, Jair's in the top lane. He was in the league last season. I know roughly how good of a player he is. And even though McSwiggan is ranked like kind of low on paper, he's got good stats to show that like he is a good mid laner. Like, I mean, he clearly does work for the team because he's got a 70.6% kill participation. So
Yeah,
he definitely does work on the Rift to help his team out in every team fight they're in.
yeah, or just uses glacial augment abilities. That
Yeah,
too.
that too.
No,
That too.
he's a fan of glacial augment.
I like glacial augment on the right champs. It can really
Yeah.
mess some people up if they're not ready for it.
Glacial Augment
Yeah.
is great rune. Please abuse.
Yep. Please abuse that
Yeah.
rune, everybody. Yeah. All right. So do you feel good about Noxus? Have anything else you would like to say real quick before we transition over to Shurima?
I mean, not really. It was kind of interesting having the two teams disqualified. It kind of changed things up a bit. We didn't actually play that many games,
Yeah.
which was slightly disappointing. But we'll be able to get some more off with the change up to the playoff bracket.
Yep. I mean, I'm really curious to see how the double elimination works because, like, I think it would be really funny if Bronze 5 Age like loses their quarterfinal match, so then they go into losers bracket and they have to like work their way back up to like win the division. I think that'd be really exciting. I don't know. So.
Yeah. So I think there'll be an interesting arc. Hopefully.
Hopefully. And yeah, Shadow's right in chat. That would be the most Bronze 5 Age thing that they would ever do. That would be it right there. Like, oh, hey, we made it 9-1 in the season, and like we only lost one game leading into playoffs. Awesome, lose first playoff game. All right. Well, thank you, Lightning, for talking about Noxus. Let's move on to Shurima. ZZ Dog, how is Shurima shaping up for playoffs?
Oh, you talk about a first place team that likes to party. Okay. Yeah, we have the delicious Daddios coming in first, going 10-2, much like Bronze 5 Age. Definitely, we're gonna fight you as 5 regardless of what our comp is, and somehow still win.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're gonna be matched up against Kamikaze Penguins, who won their
They were the
tiebreaker
tiebreaker winner
TDK.
with. Yep. Okay. Got it.
So, and I think that's probably the more contentious match. Actually, I think ABCDE versus Ravenous Kumquats is actually much closer than or much like more decided than Delicious Daddios versus Kamikaze Penguins. Mystic Wave. No, I don't know about that one, Mystic Wave. I don't know any allegations about drug use before.
I mean, we don't have any rules about performance enhancing drugs in the rule book anyway. So,
do you have any about enhancing alien symbiotes and forbidden arcane rituals?
Hey, if Spider-Man's allowed to have a symbiote work for him, then everybody is, okay?
All right, Mystic Wave, your arguments are relevant anyway. Get destroyed by facts and logic. Okay, anyway, but no, back to KP versus Delicious Daddios. I think this is a pretty close matchup actually because both of these teams are a bit fiesta heavy. Like they don't really have this super grandiose macro strategy, and they're both very inconsistent in what they do. They just pick to fight and they out team fight very well. So, and this is also a rematch of the Noxus finals from last year. I expect it to be just as bloody, if not more so than last time.
Was that the series that has the record for the most kills in a series in our league?
Yes, 355 kills in 5 games.
Yep, there it is.
So
beat that this time.
Yeah, so gonna have that. Well, we only have 3 games to do it, so that'd be like a 200 kill a game type of best of 3.
If any matchup's gonna get 200 kills a game, it's that one.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, man. Like they were at like I don't know 75 a game last time. That's still a bit high. I don't think you can go to
it's real high.
200.
It's real high.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's gonna be pretty close. And also, Delicious Daddios are actually gonna have their starting AD carry, surprising everyone that he can finally play after starting Frostbite for 3 straight weeks. Rancio is making his triumphant return.
All right. Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing him play then.
All right, and then over to ABCD and Ravenous Kumquats. This one I think is like not quite as close. It's a more of a stylistic mix mash in my opinion, whereas the other two do the same thing. And you could argue DD just does it slightly better. ABCD is more macro oriented and plays around bot lane a lot. They're way more consistent than any other team in this league. Like every other team has like really high highs and some pretty low lows. They're like the G2s versus ABCD, which is like the TL.
Yeah.
They have
okay.
a really strong bot lane. Electro and Ansem are two very good players. And their mid lane and top lane are pretty good at just going even and scaling up with Benini there to stop anything from getting too crazy. Whereas Kumquats have like a really strong mid laner who can get his own advantages while Tribox like tries to snowball side lanes. I just don't see that really working out too well against ABCD because they're just so good at playing around bot lane. The only place left for Kumquats to go at that point really is top lane. And Charmello is really good at just like sitting back on like a Vladimir or something and scaling up. So it's kind of a bad matchup for Kumquats. If I remember correctly, they did split 1-1 in a regular season, but ABCD kind of trolled it. Like they picked some really trolly stuff and lost the second game, at least according to them anyway. So I don't know. It feels a little bit favored towards ABCD there.
Yeah. I did double check it, by the way. They did go 1-1 in the regular season. So yeah, that's going to be one to keep our eyes on, I guess. Yeah. I agree with the things I know from Shurima from watching games. Like I do know that Ansem and his AD carry, name escaping me right now.
Electro?
Yeah, Electro. That's it. I wanted to say Lightning, and I was like, no, Lightning plays in Noxus. He just talked about Noxus. I know that they are like a really good pairing in the bot lane. So, like, if there is any lane that they should play around, it should be that bot lane.
Yeah, they're definitely a top 2 bot lane in the league. Can confirm.
Yeah. And I mean, like, besides that, like, you comparing them to Team Liquid, like, that's a pretty big compliment. So,
I mean, that's just like their play style, right? It's just like we want to snowball the bot lane, and our solo lanes are really good at going even.
yeah.
And so, what I expect to see is like a finals between DD and ABCD. Obviously, I'm a bit biased because I'm on DD, but like,
Yeah.
DD plays like KP, but just does it better. So you would expect that to be the case, and then that would be a really interesting one.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead. Like Cloud9 versus Clutch is essentially your two teams.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So based on what you said about some of the teams here, I can infer some of your thoughts about like early contenders for all-star votes, like namely, Ansem and Electro for like the 2 bot lane spots, like being front runners.
See, that's a bit odd though, especially like I think Electro is probably a front runner because Frostbite isn't in the running because he's a sub and he was who played on DD for a while. But the support's more contentious because both myself and Ansem, as well as Dirty Band-Aids, for a while were in a 3-horse race for it. Dirty Band-Aids kind of fell off when GTP did. But the sad thing is, Ansem and me never got to play against each other in the bot lane because I had to play jungle in our matchup due to our jungler not being able to make it. So we could only find a sub for sub lane. So yeah, we didn't get to actually see which one of us was better. And even Dirty Band-Aids didn't get to play against Ansem in the support role either because he swapped to ADC. So Ansem looks really good, but he never played against any of the best supports in the league to like contend for that spot. So I can't really say there's a front runner for support, and it's pretty contentious there.
I mean, if it's a 3-horse race, then like that's still pretty interesting and worth paying attention to, though, regardless.
Yeah, I'd like to throw a shout out to Senpai Daisuke for that. support race too. It's just his team kind of didn't work out, so he fell off a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you can still be a really good player and still be worth looking at for the All-Star voting, even if your team did really badly. Like take Bjergsen on TSM from Spring Split for an example of that, right?
Well, I mean, is it not like falled off in the way that they did poorly? Like they did do a bit poorly, but more so fell off in the way that like they just like replaced him with someone else.
Yeah.
But he did perform well while he was there. So, shout out to him. He did what he could.
Yeah. Right.
And then the other like contentious all-star voting, because I think top lane is like pretty much everybody's about the same. Jungle, I think, is a 2-horse race between Always Gonna Game and SSC Superhero, and everyone else is about the same level. And ADC, I think, is Electro by far, because the only real competition he had just didn't play in Ransuo. So,
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah.
yeah, so the only real other contentious one, I think, is mid lane, which is a pretty interesting race for me, because it was kind of like this weird rock, paper, scissors sort of relationship, where you had Mansberg, who for a while was just like the best mid lane in the league, but then he got completely smashed by Eastriel in their 3 games against TDK. So he looked like he was falling down a bit, but like Mega Average is really good as well, and Nikomite is like the best like weak side type of mid laner, where he'll just play passive and play like Zillion Orianna and scale up. So you have a lot of like conflicting play styles in mid lane, and it kind of just depends on what you value the most there.
All right. I mean, I like watching playmakers. That's like they're always fun to watch, right? But like their stats don't always show that that's worth it.
Oh no, and that's your Eustario. Like Eustario played nothing but 80 carries and like 1 game of Galio, I think. I think he played 1 game of Galio, 1 game of Brand, and 1 game of Malphite, and every other one of his 10 other games was an 80 carry. So he played like Tristana mid, Jinx mid, Corki mid, Quinn mid. Like he just played ADCs and just rocked everyone mid lane.
I mean, like, but that Jinx mid, like, was that the one that got streamed?
Yeah.
Okay, because that was crazy. That was so much fun to watch.
I don't know if you saw the matchup between TDK and KP. He played Quinn mid into Syndra and like solo killed the Syndra level 1. Like it was just insane how hard he just all-ins and just destroys the competition. He's very aggressive and snowballs very hard.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like the Huni thing for Clutch, weird picks that aren't normally played in the position, but he finds a way to make it work, and it's really entertaining just watching that go down.
Yeah, except his 80 carries work. Huni's ADCs don't really work. Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, we could talk more about how Ezreal went if we really wanted to, but we won't.
Ezreal's more debatable than the 3 Lucian top games on Immortals. We'll just leave it.
All right. Well, anyway, I mean, yeah, thanks for talking about Shurima. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff to pay attention to here going into playoffs. So like, I'm really looking forward to see how these teams adjust and prepare during this week off that they all have. Like, and that, I mean, that goes for every division, not just Shurima, but like the way that you presented and compared the teams makes me really excited to see like how much they're able to like improve in this week. All right, let's move on to Ionia here. A1 support. Yeah. What do you got for us about Ionia? What do you got?
All right. So it was a really interesting division. I'm going to be honest. For people who don't know, I am the coach of Wasted Potential. So I've prepared draft for every single one of the teams in the league. All of them with varying degrees of difficulty for drafting against. And the 3 teams that I definitely had the hardest time drafting against were the 3 teams who also made playoffs alongside Wasted Potential. So first off, we're going to go with the 1 versus 4 matchup to start. That would be Wasted Potential versus Nerdy Pandas. In the regular season, Wasted Potential did win the series 2-0, but it was in week 2, so a lot has changed, especially with the lineup of Nerdy Pandas from what I remember. I believe some players have switched out throughout the course of the split. I don't remember exactly who, but there's been some staples of their teams. Six and Krons, I believe, has been there the whole time. Carry is here, has been there the whole time. And Vision Lord has been there the whole time. I'm not sure about the mid and 80 carry. I don't remember playing against them. But In our games against them, they were very they're very one trick heavy. So banning their the champions out really lowered their champion pool priority and made them a little bit easier to draft against and play around. They do commit a lot, and they're kind of relying on somebody to kind of pop off really, really hard to initiate a team fight and get them ahead. From what I've seen in their other games, as they did 2-0 pretty much every other team lower than them in the league. And they won one Team Tempest and Watch Up One Tricks, which is quite impressive considering those other two teams are fairly good. I have a lot of respect for all the teams in playoffs. And as for the side of wasted potential, I'm going to try not to have super bias here, but it might come out. These are all, like, I know every single one of these people IRL pretty much. So position by position, I feel like all of the players on our team could be in contention for the All-Pro spot. Not saying that just because they're my team, but generally speaking, our top laner, for example, I feel like it's a 3-horse race in the top lane. I feel like it's the closest lane between our top laner, Zilla, Tuba, who plays for Washed Up One Tricks, and TTU, who plays for Team Tempest. They're all three very, very good top laners. They're all very consistent. They all have very high degrees of play, and they all have pretty good champion pools. And they've all had their own little individual pop-off moments. They all have their own kind of niche champions. For example, our top laner plays a lot of Shen. Watch out for One Tricks. Tubas, everybody knows about his Rumble. And Tempest's top laner played a lot of Mordekaiser, from what I heard, and performed very, very well on it, which is going to be a very big point of contention in the Watch Out One Tricks vs. Tempest series, because both Tuba and TTU played a significant amount of Mordekaiser in their games. In the jungle, I personally think the next best jungler in the league was the Happy Campers GG and Toxic Jungler. He was a very, very good player, honestly. Unlucky that he gets the 5th spot in the league, but he played very, very well the entire season long. Had a lot of Sejuani, which was unfortunate for him. He has a very nasty, nasty Vi, and it's horrific to play against. Played it when I subbed in for a team. His Vi is insane. Vi is just a really, really interesting champion in the meta right now with their all over builds and stuff. Anyways, continuing on in the Wash Up One Wasted Potential, mid lane would be the closest, another really contentious position, because I don't feel like anybody in our league really had a superstar mid laner. All the mid laners kind of took a backseat to another carry on the team, I would say, or like, no, you don't know any of it. To me, I just didn't recognize any of the names of any of the mid laners in this league on a consistent basis. Honestly, I feel like mid lane all-pro voting could be anywhere. I think it's anybody could get it, because there's a lot of variety in ranks, a lot of variety in champion pools. There were some, I would say, if you're looking for a pick, probably top 3 team wouldn't be that bad. Maybe Sneak and the Nerdy Panda's one there. They're all pretty good. And then moving on to the bot lane, there is a huge kind of discrepancy in bot lane talent between the top of the league and the bottom of the league, I would say, because some bot lanes kind of just stomped other teams, and it was really, really kind of bad, hard to watch sometimes. Like Azingi and Kelly Torres for Wasted Potential were really, really good, really, really dominant in bot lane. Rixie, I'm gonna say, and Bixby Cute. I hopefully I got that right. I'm sorry if I butchered it. Also very good throughout the season. Jeremy and Emalias had very good games, even though they're on the second worst team. And Numentum and Sea of Thieves were also very, very good and gave us a little bit of issues in our game versus Team Tempest. Anyways, enough about my team. I'm going to talk about the Washed Up One Tricks Tempest matchup. Fun facts about Washed Up One Tricks is that, from what I've heard, I believe it's the jungle and support are actually married, and the other 3 members of the team are all were in like the bridal party or something. Or like they were.
Oh, that's the team that did that? Okay, yeah. Because I knew there was a team that was the case. I just couldn't remember which one it was.
I believe it's Washed Up One Tricks.
That would make sense if it was them.
I think it's jungle support. There's the couple. And it's really, really, really cool. to hear that they're playing League together, and they're all quite talented players. In our series just the other day, they like to group up as 5. They like to team fight. They like to just go all in, kind of just all guns blazing. There's a little bit of team. They have a really good amount of coordination as well. So it's not like chaotic team fighting. It's very good front to back team fighting. A lot of good picks, and they pretty much all have like their one tricks. So you have to pick who you want to ban out. Of course,
Yeah.
pretty much if you're not throwing a ban at Tuba's Rumble, from what I've seen, it's nasty, and you don't want to play against a good Rumble, as evident by Hooney at Worlds, for example. A good Rumble wins games by himself.
Yeah,
Mayor
just
of
that
Huevos-
ultimate in the right spot.
Yeah.
Can just
Mayor
tear
of
Rumble
people
is
Huevos-
apart.
brutal when ahead.
Yeah, Mayor of Huevos was a very good tank jungler. I didn't see him play any carry junglers or anything, but from what I remember, I've seen him play Volibear. I've seen him play Pantheon. Performed very, very well in the champion. It was updated Pantheon, and it was really, really effective. Gelati, can't say I remember much about his champ pool, but he was a very effective. He held his own in lane against our mid laner. And honestly, just a really good overall player, good mechanics from what I've seen. The bot lane actually performed fairly well against our bot lane. Thing was, we had a sub for that game because our AD carry's internet kind of just randomly cut out and reconnect until midway through the second game. So we didn't have him, so we had our sub Polaro Joe in, which was interesting to say the least. We had some role swaps, but really, really good bot lane. I have nothing bad to say about them. They are really, really good. And for the side of Nerdy Pandas, their bot lane, Vision Lord, I would put up there for support. All Pro, along with Bixby Cute and Kaylee Torres. Pretty much anybody I would say in the top could have a shot at getting the All Pro team. Personally, for the All Pro team, I would probably go. Top lane is too close to call, mid lane is too close to call, but I would probably go Graylee and Azingi in jungle mid, jungle AD carry, who, fun fact, I know them both. They're brothers. And the AD carry, and our top laner all go to school together. Fun facts about us: get to know the league, community involvement, yay. Anyways, yeah, we're all pretty close. But yeah, the jungle AD carry, Graylee and Azingi, very, very dominant from what I've seen. They have a small champion pool, relatively speaking, which is something I really want them to work on, but can't have perfect players, unlucky. But anyways, back to the games. I talked MVP voting supposed to be after. Anyways, Wash Up One Tricks versus Team Tempest is going to be a very, very interesting series. Interestingly enough, Washed Up One Tricks beat Team Tempest 2-0 in the regular season, which I found very, very interesting, considering Washed Up One Tricks and Team Tempest against the top teams went 1-1 a whole bunch. There was a lot of 1-1 games between the top 3 teams, because I'm pretty sure outside of the Washed Up One Tricks, Tempest game, every other game between the top 4 teams pretty much a 1-1. So it means the top of the table is very, very even, I would say, and picking up a finals would be very, very hard. I would personally say that Wasted Pendulum should win either 2-0 or 2-1 over Nerdy Pandas, I feel like overall team fighting is a huge strong point for both teams, but when played on their premier champions, Wasted Potential I don't think has lost a game. On when they get their prime picks and we're not kind of just trolling a little bit, whether it's for me or the team asking to play some random stuff.
Mhm.
And in the the Wash Up One Tricks versus Tempest matchup, I honestly think it comes down to A, bot lane, who gets ahead or who has a winning matchup or better scaling, what doesn't really matter, or B, who wins top lane. The top lane matchup in this series will be very, very important because how good Tuba and TTU feel is. They're both very, very impressive players in my eyes, and I believe that they're kind of the highlights of both of their teams. And because of that, I would think that top lane matchup is going to be super, super important for winning the game for both sides. And the bot lane will be also very, very important. So maybe vertical jungling could be a huge point to try to focus one lane and kind of just put one of the lanes on an island to try to survive, or just hard push wave and scale. Who knows? But yeah, my prediction for that game, it's going to be a 3-game series, I would think. I think it'll be 2-0. I believe it happened relatively early in the year, so maybe not everybody was on the same page for the side of Tempest. I don't know if they're a pre-made or not. So obviously the Wash Up on Tricks and Team Wasted Potential are pre-mates. I don't know for the case of Nerdy Pandas or Team Tempest, but regardless, I think Ionia will be a very, very interesting playoff series to watch in all respects. But I would expect to see Wasted Potential versus, I would say, Team Tempest, because I feel like in game, Team Tempest gave us a way harder time in our loss versus them than Washed Up One Tricks, where we had a little bit of a kind of jokier draft because we had locked up first place. So we were like, hey, let's mess around a little bit. So we picked like Ivern and Cockmaw, and that didn't go well when they picked Vi. Anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Ionia. It's
All right.
the top of the table is very, very close, and the games will be very, very to watch from a spectator.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wanted to say this earlier, but you were on a roll, so I didn't want to interrupt. With Washed Up One Tricks and Team Tempest, like if we had the LCS technology to do the pro view stuff, where you could just watch an entire match from one player's perspective the whole time, you know, I would just watch Tuba or Phoenix and just switch between the two of them the whole time.
Yeah,
because like that matchup is going to be so exciting to watch. Like before this league got formed, I was actually on a team with TTU Phoenix, so I'm well aware of how good he is. I also know how good Tuba is because I've seen Tuba play before, not necessarily like on my team or against me, but I have seen his play. So I know how good they are. I know how exciting that's going to be, and I know how I know how hype it's going to be if Phoenix actually gets to play Alawi for once in his life.
Yeah. I would also like to say that probably Tuba's Rumble has gotten through a couple times this split from what I've watched. If Tuba's Rumble goes through, if Phoenix's Alawi goes through, and for my team's sake, if Azinki's Kaisa goes through, like we literally haven't gotten to play Kaisa all year, and he's really fed up with it because he's a Lucian Caitlyn spam now, so he just wants a Kaisa game, and I don't think he's gonna get it. But I don't think if we play them in finals, because I'm assuming we're going to finals, all of it, crossing my fingers, we're banning Rumble every game. And if we're playing TTU Phoenix in finals, we're banning Alawi every game.
Well, just make a gentleman's agreement between teams that if it goes to a game 5, to not ban anyone's power picks and just let everybody play their best champ and just let's see what happens. Let's see how exciting that gets.
I was honestly in our last game, because our last game of the season was against Wash Up One Tricks, and Azingi wasn't there to play for us. So but then I remember the rule about no talking in between games. So I was like, I was gonna ask them to do like a no ban game and kind of just have a good time because they had locked up second and we had locked up first. Like the way the first game went. And then I was like, wait a second, we can't do that. Unlucky.
Like the OG Korean tiebreaker where it's a blind pick game.
It was a blind pick game. I would have been so down for that.
Yeah.
Like, that would have
been funny.
And like, wow, that would have been so exciting. Yeah. Anyways, that's Ionia in a nutshell. If you're gonna look at MVPs, obviously I'm gonna point out the 3 top laners that I've mentioned multiple times.
Yeah, you've already brought them up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Two was Zilla, TTU Phoenix, and then jungle Grayley, and then AD carry Azingi. Those would be my 5 looks for MVP, just from consistent performance, kind of carry performances for their team, and overall just good gameplay from what I've watched, because I've gotten to I've watched a lot of VODs.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah. All right. Cool. Awesome. Well, let's end this real quick here. Let's give chat a break because we're gonna take like a good 5-10 minute break, and then we're coming back and we're gonna do the patch rundown for 9.2, which just dropped today.
9.20.
You don't count the sorry math. You don't count the zero if there's a zero on it. I don't do that.
That's it's not math though. It's
You should call it 9.02.
Yeah,
And
like if
then
it was patch
9.2.
if it was patch 9.02, I would say the zero, but you know.
Significant digits, guys. Come on.
it's not math though. It's not an actual number.
I know it's not actual math. It's just my brain automatically reads it that way. That's just what I do.
I'm sorry, I've done this.
Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, chat, we'll give you guys a break. We'll see you back in about 5, maybe 10 minutes if we're taking a little bit longer to take a bathroom break here or grab something to drink. So we will see you guys soon. But for now, let's play some more of that Riot music. Let's do that during the break. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for being patient, everybody in chat. We have returned for the patch notes here for 9.20. Everybody happy? I put the 0 in there at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. So yeah, not the biggest patch in the world in terms of like how many champions are getting nerfs or buffs or changes. But there's a decent amount to talk about with 3 of the champions in particular, with all of the changes that those champs are getting. So let's start off from the top. We got Blitzcrank right away with just a little tiny change here. Base stats armor goes down for 4 points, and his armor growth goes down by a half a point.
That's just a single tier for Blitzcrank.
I mean, whatever. I mean, that's fine. I mean, like he gets a buff to his grab so that like he can engage more often. Well, not engage more often, but so that he can engage from far away so that the engagements are more advantageous. That's the way to put it. So I guess everybody's picking Blitzcrank and making Blitzcrank work in like every region in the world right now because of that. So they're like, hey, let's just make Blitzcrank easier to kill. Screw it. I mean, whatever. I have no real thoughts on if this is a good or bad change. Just that, oh hey, it's a change. Neat.
It's just not enough.
It's a lot for a support main. Leave me to.
Like he's still gonna be crazy strong, and like you're probably building like Knight's Vow or Iceborne Gauntlet or something first, depending on how fed you are anyway. So like the armor isn't what you would want to nerf. You'd want to nerf the MR because you're not building it to make up for it.
Yeah. Anyways, Garen time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Garen time. This is a talk right here. All right. I'm not going to read Riot's explanation on why they're doing this because I just want to get right into it. So let's just start with base stats. That's the first thing on the list here. They're increasing his attack speed growth by a weird number. It goes from 2.9 to 3.65. Just make it every like quarter of a percentage, guys. Why are you doing weird numbers like this? Like either make it 3.5 or 3.75. One of the two. Don't do a weird in the middle number. Anyway,
it's too much.
His base health is going up to 620. His health growth is going down to 84, but that's not down by much. Nothing really that big of a deal to talk about here, except the attack speed growth, because that'll play into like a different ability later on.
How dare you imply that him losing like half of a point of HP level 18 is not significant in that health?
His passive perseverance, his regeneration has changed. It is now 1.5 to 10.1% of his maximum health per 5 seconds as he levels up to level 18. They removed his empowered regeneration, so he no longer doubles his health regen when he's below 25 or 50%. Instead, it is now 7 seconds when hit by that got removed entirely, and then the regeneration interruption is the update that I'm reading here. So instead of 9 seconds when hit by non-minions before level 11, and then 4 seconds after level 11, it's just 7 seconds like at every single level. I guess that makes it more consistent so that you always know what you're getting out of it. But other than that, I don't really see this as that big of a deal.
It's actually a pretty big deal because like the one.
I mean, I don't play top lane, so like don't take my word as gospel
like,
anyway.
The one big thing to note there is like 9 seconds when hit by non-minions becomes 7 seconds when hit by epic monsters, towers, or champions. So basically, this means you can sit in the wave and soak damage from the minions and still have your regen on, as long as you're not getting hit by your enemy laner.
You could do that before, though.
That was only after level 11, though. Before level 11, it's like...
The thing that's crossed out is 9 seconds when hit by non-minions. You could...
I think that like doesn't include cannon, though, right? Because like
no, it includes cannons are counted as minions. The change is monsters.
Okay, I thought that like cannons were counted as like the like another tier up of minion, because you have like Thresh gets more shit, then like you get more from like Overgrow or stuff from it.
Yeah, Garen's does not count cannon minions.
Okay, I mean, yeah, though. I mean, then it's just Jungle Garen then. Like Jungle Garen's better. Cool. Like either way, like you don't get the double out of combat though, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, but I mean, like just build a health regen item anyway. It's fine.
I mean, is the build still start with 3 rejuve? Is that still the
I don't
top lane
even
spice?
That's an
know.
option. That Doran's shield, Doran's blade, they're all options. Depends on how much poke the enemy has.
Like, I'm not even gonna try to guess what Garen builds are gonna look like after this, because it's gonna be weird and all over the place for like at least a week.
Yeah, Triforce first item. That's the consensus, though.
Build that Phage number 1. Let's go. Anyway, so the changes on the Q, decisive strike, does a new thing with the cast time on it, so it scales with Garen's attack speed, behaving more similarly to a basic attack. And then they fixed a bug where whenever he's slowed, the Q's lockout time dramatically increased. So, like, I guess I never noticed that bug fix because I don't play Garen, so, whatever.
Yeah,
But,
that's a nice bug to fix. It's a nice bug to fix. It wasn't that big a deal, but it was annoying occasionally.
All right.
So it's
but
not
like
Warwick W levels.
No,
Ridiculous.
yeah.
No,
So-
it doesn't matter win rate wise.
Okay, so I'm assuming that the reason why Triforce is encouraged to build first on Garen is because since the Q acts more like a basic attack, like it just procs Triforce automatically now, like whenever you use it. Is that the reason why Triforce is encouraged?
No.
I think it's more so because you can easy stat conk, which we'll get to later. But like if you have conk damage on Triforce, it just bursts
Yeah.
super hard.
Conk damage, Triforce, and your E scales with attack speed, so you don't waste all that stat. Yeah, Sheen
Alright.
on Garen is really good, and it was really good, but there just wasn't an item you could build out of it.
Okay, all right, I see. All right, makes sense. The W kill is changed, so instead of 0.33 bonus armor magic resistance, max of 50 at whatever the kills are, 150 unit kills, it's now 0.25 bonus armor magic resistance, max of 30 at 150 unit kills. That's a bit of a nerf right there already, but they have an update on this part here, the shield me. Grants 30 instead of granting 30% extra damage reduction and tenacity for the first 0.75 seconds, it just grants a shield for 10% of his maximum health and 60% tenacity for the first 0.75 seconds. And I guess if you want to build super tanky Garen with lots of health, that's going to be one hell of a shield on that W press.
W is worse.
Yeah, W is better against like non-burst damage, but worst against like walking face checking the whole enemy team. You can't do that any. You can't just eat the whole entire team's burst damage through your W. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like
I
it
don't think
used
there's
to.
ever a time where this is
So,
better.
so I have a question then about the W press. Is that going to stack with Gargoyle's Stoneplate if you build that on him?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's max health.
All
Yeah.
right. Alrighty then. So you can hit Gargoyle's Stoneplate and then hit W afterwards to get like a shield that does like what, like 1,000 extra health or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah,
like
so
that?
But the
back
shield
when,
doesn't last
like,
very long. The shield
back
is short
when-
duration.
Back when Locket first scaled off health, you would have like Cho'Gath rushing Stoneplate into Locket. It's
Mhm.
kind of like the same concept.
Okay. Well, because like if you're gonna go into the middle of a team fight as Garen and you build all tank and you just happen to have Gargoyle's Stoneplate as one of those items, like if you want to take a massive hit right away for your team, just hit Gargoyle Stoneplate. I can't say that word today for some reason. Then hit W, take a huge amount of burst damage, and you're still alive after that's over, and you've just absorbed all that for your team.
And that might make it half as good as it used to be then.
Yeah, Garen could already do that. He can now do it if he builds an item. But Garen's ability to take burst damage is slightly worse, but it's still really, really good.
I mean, like I said, I'm not a top lane player, so like, I'm just throwing stuff out there to see what you guys think about it. I don't know if it's good or not.
Yeah, the W is like significantly worse.
Since
Yeah, it is.
I mean, well, since we're all already almost there, let's talk about the E, because the E, when I heard that this was the change to the E, I was like, what? Like, what does this even do? So essentially, instead of spins being 5 to 10 spins, which because I'm not a Garen player, I didn't even know that the number of spins increased as he leveled up. I had no idea that was
Oh.
even a thing in the first place.
Okay.
So it's now just 7 plus 1 per 20% attack speed from items and levels. So like if you want to build attack speed items, you're just going to get more spins all the time.
Yeah.
Damage per spin has been adjusted. It's lower at all levels. Excuse me. It's lower at all levels. But it gets plus 0 to 8 based on level, and then it gets plus 0.32 to 0.4 attack damage, which was changed just a little bit, so that's not much of an adjustment there on that front. Bonus damage was 33% to a single enemy. It is now 25% to the nearest enemy, which is a weird, that's a weird sideways shift on that one. And then spins before the shred go from 4 to 6. That's kind of significant. And then the new thing with it is that they're calling this Alexander the Great now grants stacks of Conqueror on every spin.
Keep in mind, everything about this ability is nerfed other than it gets Conk now. If you're not running Conk Garen, you're worse. If you're running Conk Garen, you're incredibly buffed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garen now has Ultra Synergy with Conqueror. Anyone who's running Grasp is trolling. Yeah, this is one of the best rune synergies in the game with Conqueror. It's like Pantheon and Olaf levels of Conqueror synergy.
I don't think
Maybe
Pantheon
even better.
Pantheon Conk is kind of troll, if I'm being completely honest. Go PTA every time. Like
Yeah.
you have insane
The
Pantheon
triple
synergy with press the attack is disgusting.
Yeah, insta-proc.
You insta-proc it, like you do instantly 100 extra damage from procking it on level 1 if you if you go W first. Like your all-in is insane. That's beside the point though.
He also has the same synergy with Conqueror though. Pantheon built to have both rune synergies, so you have to pick, which is an interesting choice. But Garen does not have PTA synergies, so he previously didn't really have a proper rune. I mean, he ran Grasp, which was just okay, but now he has really good rune synergy. And the base damage on E, if you have like a Triforce versus previously having a Triforce, is higher. You deal more damage.
I think
because
you actually okay, if you do the math, I think you technically might do more damage level 1, but you like if you get every spin.
Yeah, you do. You deal more damage. You do deal more damage.
I feel like it's pretty close because
Yeah, it's pretty. The E damage is pretty close throughout. But if you build the attack speed, you scale versus not scaling, which means that that Triforce really does buff your E damage significantly.
Yeah,
and you can run like the attack speed shards or whatever, and your higher the E judgment scales off of your base stats, base attack speed, which means by the time you hit level 5, you're getting an extra 15% base attack speed because of an extra like 17.9 or something, which counts. At level 6, you'll get an extra E spin just off of your base attacks. So E is a buff, except the shred is a nerf, but against low-ish armor targets, a buff.
The interesting one to me also is the bonus damage, because the bonus damage is worse in lane now. Like if you're going for an all-in on somebody in lane, your bonus damage is 8% lower. Yeah. However, if you're in a team fight, you now have 25% bonus damage you wouldn't have before.
Yeah, it's buffing Garen's team fight damage and nerfing his lane damage, which I sort of get, but he also is able to better deal damage with a minion nearby. So ultimately the change is, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. In terms of the bonus damage, it's slightly better sometimes, but slightly worse other times. It's not really a win rate changing change.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's go on to his ultimate here, Demacian Justice. So they removed the passive where he no longer marks enemies with the most kills in the last 5 minutes as the villain. So instead, it grants vision of the target for 1 second, preventing it from canceling if the target breaks line of sight. Damage is adjusted, so it goes from 150 to 450 instead of 175 to 525. So they just lowered the damage on the ultimate. And then they also adjusted the scaling on it as well, so it's now plus 0.2 or 0.25 or 0.3 of the target's missing health as true damage, as it goes from rank 1 to 2 to 3 of that ability.
Yeah, that's the big key thing there, is it's now always true damage. You're never going to have that magic damage. You can't take Nullifying Orb to counter Garen ultimate anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean it's unless you're ulting a squishy or a villain, it's a buff to your R damage. If your opponent even just dealing with someone with like 40 base MR, it's still a very slight buff.
I think the bigger change though is the vision thing. Like
Yeah,
it's so
that's
annoying. Like
yeah, your Garen
like,
ult gets cancelled by they walk into a bush and your ult misses.
it literally doesn't even matter like what it is you're playing. Like even if you're auto attacking as an AD carry and somebody flashes into fog so the auto gets canceled, like every single interaction like that is the most tilting thing.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
All right. So
Nice.
so overall here with Garen, are we looking at all of this put together in one package? Does it seem more of a nerf, more of a buff, or does it seem more of just a sideways, like he'll probably mostly still have like the same win rate, play rate, pick ban rate, whatever?
It's just like a 1.5% buff. It's a buff, but
It's
not super big, I don't think.
significant buff, but he's not going to be truly broken. He's going to be better though against like other melee bruisers. Like you can now straight up fight Kled and win, where you couldn't do it before.
All right. So yeah, I'm just fully expecting that like once this patch lands and like Fi and other YouTubers get a glimpse of like the broken Korean builds, he's gonna have something to say about like a broken Garen build somebody found in Korea.
Yeah, probably. I do
So.
see Garen being more viable at higher level play.
Yeah, I mean, like, I always enjoy watching pro play whenever a champion that hasn't been picked a lot or like has been ignored for like over a year is finally brought back into being played and totally viable. Like, I always get super excited whenever.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah,
Because
it's nice.
it was a thing for such a long time where people would tease picking Ashe in the bot lane, and then they never would actually pick her because she was way worse than like almost every other AD carry in the game for the longest time. But then when she got her rework, oh my god, Ashe is great. So like everybody was picking Ashe at that point. I got super pumped by that. I thought it was great. All right, so let's move on to Ivern. Ivern is this is a thing. I mean, I'm very interested to see how this works out. So they changed his basic attack range so that instead of it being 125 where he's in melee range, they changed his basic attack range to 475. He's now classified as a ranged champion for all runes, items, everything. So they removed something on his W Brushmaker where it no longer increases his attack range because his attack range is always at where it would be if he was in a bush anyway.
This is awful. This is actually just garbage. What were they thinking? Oh my god, this is such a bad change. Okay.
But why is it bad? Let me know why it's bad.
So as someone who loves Ivern, the one thing you'll first have to know,
one of the 5 people
one of the 5
on
people alive who loves Ivern. When you Q and take the Q, it brings you into your range. If you're not melee, you aren't on top of them, meaning you can't pop your shield for the slow. So you have this huge anti-synergy now, where if you Q onto them, you have to walk forward and try and get in range of the slow from your E now.
Yeah,
But doesn't that shield also go on Daisy whenever Daisy's out?
I mean, and that's fair, but like Ivern doesn't want to have to wait till 6 to engage a fight.
I mean,
Like,
that's true. Yeah, that's a
you
good
can
point.
just use
like, especially
use
early,
red buff
like-
ranged autos. That's like awesome. That's like why crazy.
Okay, but like if you want to do the red buff cheese, you can level W level 2 and walk into lane and do the same thing. Like it is not that hard to give yourself range. You are ganking from a bush 9 times out of 10 anyway. You are coming to lane like with that ranged auto and it's falling off. Like
Yeah,
but he still has all the synergies with other champions on the map anyway that he always did have synergy with. This just like changes his own synergy with his own abilities.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
but like you don't want to have this glaring anti-synergy in a kit though. Like if you want to buff Ivern, there are so many better ways you could have buffed Ivern.
I mean, I can almost guarantee that. I can almost guarantee that after this comes out and Riot sees what happens with Ivern, that something else is going to get adjusted with that shield. I can
Like,
almost guarantee it.
At the very least, like, make him have like long melee range, like super wonky long arms or something, so that he's in like shield range, and then just make his W give him less range and bring him to that ranged form that we know him as. Like, you don't need to give him all of it to make his shield unusable.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to guess why Riot made this change in the first place, my assumption would be, hey, nobody plays Ivern. Maybe it's because he has to get into melee range to attack people. Let's give him a ranged auto attack to see if people play him more now.
Well, their justification is literally like making Ivern more approachable. And
Yeah, this is a skill cap nerf. This
exactly. Like,
and a skill
the only
4
people
in
that
green.
are gonna play Ivern anyway are people already playing Ivern. This isn't gonna make somebody go out and be like, Ivern's my man now. He's got that range. Like, no one's gonna play him because of that. You just made life harder for people who actually play Ivern.
Yeah, I kind of hate Ivern, or playing him. I like playing against, but
I don't know. I really think Riot just doesn't know what to do with Ivern, and they're like, yeah, try this. See, I don't know, do it.
Yeah, it's a troll
it's kind of like, no one plays the champion. Let's mix it up a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Ivern.
I'll be real with you guys. I always forget that Ivern exists until somebody picks him, and I just go, oh yeah, he's in the game.
Yeah, I don't think Ivern's changing substantially in terms of pick rate. No one's still gonna play Ivern.
Exactly. This isn't gonna make him more approachable. It's just gonna make all the Ivern players hate you.
Yeah, like 5 of them.
Yeah, you have 5 people who are gonna send you strongly worded letters, Riot. Please
reverse. I wonder what the Ivern main Reddit page is like. I wonder what that page is.
I'm by no means an Ivern main, but like I like him. He's cool.
Yeah. No, I think he has some interesting stuff with his gameplay. He has the most interesting way of clearing the jungle out of any jungler in the game.
Yeah.
For one, it's really interesting that like he shares, like he gets red buff and blue buff, but then he leaves a copy of it there for another champ to get on the team as well. That's super interesting and different. So from a theming standpoint, I like Ivern as what he does as a theme with his kid and how he cares about the jungle and doesn't want to kill any of the jungle champs. That's interesting. That's cool. I like that. But gameplay wise, I don't find him interesting in the slightest. Like I've never had the interest to ever try him.
Yeah, I've tried him a few times. He feels weak and hard to play. And why play Ivern when you play? He's like also a soft carry champ, and he's just easier and better.
All right. Well, I let ZZ Dog get all that chest about Ivern, so we can finally move on to Lissandra now after that.
Yay, Lissandra.
Lissandra's a champ I'm really interested in talking about because I like playing Lissandra. I have played her in mid lane a bit for practicing. I've never brought her into a match this season, but I like taking her into practice games and trying her out. So what they did was they took her armor, they increased it from 20.216, which is another weird, stupid decimal point that I don't know why Riot does. And they brought it up to 22, so it's a whole number again. And then they also took her passive, Iceborne Subjugation. The damage ratio has been increased by 0.2, which over the course of a game, that 0.5 ability power on that passive, that's not nothing. It's not like it's going to do damage. It's going to hurt people. And then they also gave a nice buff to her W, Ring of Frost, by increasing the scaling from 0.5 ability power to 0.7 ability power. And that's going to be a bigger deal for team fights because she's always going to take her E into the middle of a team. I forget what the E is called, but she's always going to take it in. I think that's it. So she's always going to take that into the middle of a team fight. She's either going to ult herself or she's going to use the W first and then she's going to ult herself. Either way, those two abilities together are just a lot of damage all in one burst.
All I'm saying is I opened the season being a Lissandra support one trick. Let me tell you, Lysandra support was very effective, and all I see with this buff as a support player who literally plays any one support, there's the name, guys. This champion made me so happy at the beginning of the season, and then she got nerfed to the ground, and I was like, well, I can't play this champion bot lane anymore without getting hard flamed. I was like 7-8 on this champion. Or, I mean, like, I won 7 out of 8 games on this champion.
Yeah.
It's much more impressive.
And I'm like, after it got nerfed, I was really, really sad. And her passive is actually straight insane.
Yeah.
Especially in a duo lane, when you kill somebody, guess what? They're getting hit by this passive.
Yeah,
It
you're
doesn't
you're
matter.
probably gonna get that second kill or at least get flash and heal out of the picture.
Exactly. That's why I loved its support. As soon as I was like, that passive is insane. Also, ARAM players rejoice.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true too.
I think though, like realistically speaking, if you were gonna buff Lysandra, this is the best way to buff her. Buff
Correct.
Buff the
Correct.
Iceborne subjugation, because in mid lane and top lane, if you're 1v1, that won't matter at all. And buff the W so that like you're not using that like off cooldown. You're like only using that if you're all in or if someone's all inning you. So like
Yeah,
if you want to
basically.
give more power to stuff, those are the things you give the power to.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a small buff to her Q, just because like you use it
touched
all
it
the
a lot
time
this
for
season.
farm. But
They
you
used
know,
they touched it a lot this season. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
touched it like 3 times, like mana
Yeah.
cost and range and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
the
been
problem with
tinkering
the-
around with that ability a lot. It's
Problem
like
with the
always
Q
in the
is that, like
patch.
if you make it too strong, that's what enables her to roam constantly. Is that
Yeah.
she'll have
Correct.
insane wave clear.
Correct.
oh no, like
So-
I totally meant that from a biased standpoint. Like I want that Q to be strong so that I can do those things. So like, please Riot, do that.
I want a broken champion because it's my broken champion.
Yay!
Give me back my Yumi, please.
No, we will never get that Yumi back. It was
Yeah,
way too
Yumi's-
busted.
Yumi is going to be in the graveyard for forever, like Tom Kent.
They're gonna give her a rework in like they're gonna give her a rework in 3 months before the next season starts. Mark my words.
Yeah,
Please.
along with deleting Tom Kent from the game. Which-
they already effectively did that.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
effectively
yeah.
did that.
As
They tried to move him to top lane. Top laners hated it. Tried to, he was high ban rate. Everyone complained to Riot, so they just kept nerfing him over and over and over again. Like
As somebody
Hey,
who in season 8
like they like buried him and then just kept going.
Yeah. As somebody in season 8 who had 50 plus games on Tom Kench as his most played champion in ranked, he went from being an actually really fun time to being literally the most not competitively viable champ in the support role. And I say this as somebody who was playing support for all of season 8. In season 8, there was 3 meta supports the entire year.
Yeah.
Rakan, Braum, and Tom Kench. Those were the 3 supports. And Riot kept nerfing them and nerfing them and nerfing them. And they were still the top 3 supports
Yep.
the entire year until they got to a point where they had to buff them because of how bad they were, because everybody was complaining about it. And support was pretty much a useless role at the beginning of the season.
Like
It was
the problem Riot
terrible.
has is that they refuse to buff counter picks. They'll just nerf. Like
And like
there are
Tom
other
Kench's
ways
W,
to lower
Tom
a champions
W,
win rate.
Tom Kench's W, you literally have to burn flash every time you want to save somebody of high priority now. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
really annoying.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really annoying. And it's not like you can hex flash out of a fight. Right? So you can't take hex flash. That's not happening. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't they also get rid of the Castave?
No, they gutted it to hell because now what happens is that how when you swallowed an enemy you had a huge slow debuff.
Yeah.
Now when you swallow an ally you get a huge.
Well, yeah, I know that, but didn't they also
Yeah.
get rid of like the Castave where you would ult in a fight so that somebody could
Yeah.
jump to you?
Oh no,
You-
one didn't.
Oh, that's still a thing?
You can still do it now. You
Okay.
can
Yeah,
still
you
do
can
it.
still do it.
Okay.
They just
I mean,
they
at least they
nerfed
still have that
Grey
then.
Health. They nerfed.
Yeah, they nerfed
nerfed
Grey Health,
his-
they nerfed his Q damage, they nerfed his
They
W
nerfed, like,
damage,
everything. They nerfed his
W
Yeah, they
passive.
basically just gutted his kit
Alright.
and then just.
Why are
kept
we talking
going.
about Tom Kench?
I
though?
know. I
We're
was just
complaining.
about to stop
I
this discussion because
I
Tom
am
Kench is
the
not on
support
this
player.
patch note at all.
I wish you
and like I could rant all day about how I hate that Riot's always about nerfing strong champs rather than buffing their counters, I could rant about that all day because I wish they would do that. But
Can I link
that's
the double lift video? Can I link the double lift video?
yeah. So but that's not the conversation for today. The conversation for the day is the patch notes. Maybe we'll have that talk some other time. So yeah, Lissandra, cool buffs. Awesome, great. Maybe Lissandra gets played, a lot more often in mid lane or something now after this. Who knows?
Yay, Pantheon nerf. Move on.
Yay, Pantheon. Pantheon has a bug fix, which is a interesting bug fix, I guess. I didn't even know this was a bug. So his Comet Spear and his Shield Vault now properly work when taking Thresh's Dark Passage within 2 seconds or less. Neat, cool, whatever. It works the way it's supposed to
Q
work.
damage nerf. Great. Moving on.
Yeah. His Q got nerfed a little bit with damage. Cool. I mean, everybody agrees. Yay, because Q hurt a lot. So cool. Moving on.
Kiana's Q got nerfed in early ranks.
Yay!
Moving on.
Yay!
Neither of these mean anything. As someone who is right now two-tricking Pantheon and Kiana jungle, these do not deter me from continuing to two-trick these busted champions at all.
Kiana Talia, where you at?
So
Kiana Ivern, where you at?
Yeah, where's that? Yeah, okay. So on paper, you look at nerfs and you go, oh, champions. But if you put these champions in the hands of players that already know how to play these champions really well, it's not going to change how they play the champions. It's not going to change any of their decision making. They're still going to play the champs exactly the same way and still have roughly the same success.
Kiana at level 5 has 10 less damage on her Q, 20 less in an all-in because she'll use it twice.
Yeah,
that's nothing. Who cares?
It's negligible. Kiana's especially is negligible. Pantheon's is not entirely negligible, but it's still,
But it's only on his throne Q.
Yeah, it's only on the
it's not even on the tap one, which is 90% of the Qs you use.
So, whatever. It's whatever. Maybe we'll find out it actually means more than but we got to get moving because we got 2 more champs that have quite a few changes. We got to get through this a little bit faster. So let's move on. Shaco, base attack damage went down by 3. His attack damage growth went down by 1/2. That's it. Not a big deal. Passive is backstab. So new basic attack damage is basic attack in the enemy now deals an additional 10 to 25 from levels 1 to 18 and has plus 0.15 bonus attack damage. This damage can also critically strike when hit from behind. I believe it's saying that it can do it from only when you attack from behind, not at all, not even if you're hitting them from the front or the side or whatever. I think it means that it only critically strikes from a backstab. Maybe I'm wrong. That's how I read it. And then it also has 2 shiv poison damage. So 2 shiv poison now deals an additional 15 to 50 damage as you level up. And it also has plus 0.1 ability power damage from behind. So am I reading that right? Where it only has that if you're hitting someone from behind?
Yeah, it's specifically behind because Shaco's whole thing is he'll fear you, so you run away from him and then he just autos you.
Okay, I'm glad my reading comprehension is working out on that. All right. So his Q then, the stealth duration is increased it's increased in the beginning. It is nerfed at the ending of that. It feels like it's more flat all the way through because it's only going from 2.5 to 3.5, whereas it used to go from 1.5 to 4.5. So they're just leveling it out between all ranks. Really, is what they're doing. The cooldown's way better. Cooldown starts off 4 seconds lower, and it continues to be 4 seconds lower at all levels. They removed that the cooldown no longer reduces when exiting invisibility and dealing his next basic attack. And then the damage also got buffed by a decent amount. It got buffed by 15. It looks at all levels. Yep, it's 15 at all levels. But they lowered the scaling so that instead of plus 0.4 bonus attack damage and plus 0.3 ability power, it is only plus 2.5 bonus attack damage. But when striking from behind, Deceive is guaranteed to critically strike for 130%.
Yeah, I think the lower damage is made up for with backstab being changed.
I think so. I think you're right about that. That's how I look into it. So if you're not good enough with him or not getting backstabbed, it's not worth it anymore.
See, the interesting thing to me here though is this is disincentivizing Qmax because now that your stealth duration is leveled out and your cooldown is just inherently lower, like it's already lower on rank 1 than it was on rank 5 before. Like you almost don't need to max Q anymore. Like this frees you up to max something that like makes you actually more bursty.
Yeah. So I mean, we can probably have like, once we're all done talking about all the abilities, like you tell me what you should be leveled up first instead of the Q then, because like I'm interested to see like if your prediction on that's going to be right or not. So his W Jack in the Box gets a change. He's just like Garrett. All of his abilities are getting changed a little bit. W has an update here that when triggered, the boxes can now attack multiple enemies, so they're not all constantly aiming at the same enemy, right? They have an area of effect range, and they can attack any enemy, multiple enemies in that range. The damage has also the AoE damage is now 15 to 35 plus 0.1 ability power. The single target damage is unchanged. Non-champion fear duration is 2 seconds on all non-champions. And then the feared movement speed, instead of 100 movement speed for all enemies, it's 60 movement speed for non-champions, and then it's 100 movement speed on champions. So like on champions, it's still going to feel exactly the same.
Good first clear. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how that AoE damage affects team fights.
It's big for his ult.
We have nothing else to say about it. Just like, all right, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's AoE now. Yeah, his clear's better, and his ult poops them out in team fights, and that's cool. Like, whatever.
Yeah. So then we got the his E to shift poison. Also has some changes here. Damage type is no longer physical damage; it's just magic damage now. So they completely swapped out what type of damage it does. And then the damage numbers are also obviously going to be changed because of that. So it used to be 55 to 155 physical damage, and now it is 70 to 170 magic damage. And then the bonus attack damage on that is plus 0.8 and plus 0.6 ability power. So that is, I mean, obviously, if you change what damage type, you have to adjust those stats. You can't keep those the same. So, it's not unexpected that they did that. And then the execute damage on it is, instead of 0 to 50% increased damage based on missing health, it's 50% increased damage on targets that are below 30% health. So, he's much more about executing champions rather than just like, oh yeah, like I'm going to do tons of damage with any missing health you have. Now you specifically should be targeting champions that are lower health than the others.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also like better synergy because now you can like Q behind someone, get that backstab for the extra damage, and then E them. And the E also, if you remember from the passive, does additional damage from behind.
Yep.
So you're now like much more incentivized to play for that backstabby sort of like hiding in the flank style Shaco as opposed to the I'm standing in front of your team spamming W Shaco.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I already hated playing against Shaco, and the more we go through these patch notes, the less I want to like the less I like him already. Like I already hate him. I hate him more now.
Good Shaco player is like the scariest thing in this game.
It's the worst thing to play against. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So I'm gonna hate it a lot more now. I'm like, I don't even play jungle, so like I wouldn't ban a jungler. I'm tempted to just ban Shaco now every game I play. And we haven't even talked about his ultimate yet. So his ultimate here, Hallucinate, is the box trigger time rather than triggering after 2 seconds. They can trigger immediately, which is stupidly good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, his R is just better because of that.
I mean, the only issue though is like the actual damage that the clone does from exploding is way lower.
I mean, that's true. We'll get there too. Like I haven't finished reading it yet.
Significantly less damage, but the enemy can't just move away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they're gonna get feared immediately, which is like that's a big.
Let's finish reading it first.
Yeah. So the damage, instead of being 200 to 400 plus 1 ability power, it's 150 to 300 plus 0.7 ability power. So that's a nerf. And then they did add new box AoE damage, 10 to 30 plus 0.1 ability power, single target damage is unchanged. Fear duration is also 1 second at all ranks. So it's better at level 1 of the ultimate. It is worse at level 3 of the ultimate.
Yeah, like this is better for team fights because I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
of course it is.
I think it's debatable that it's better all the time. It just depends on what you're going for. Because if you're playing AP Shaco, this is debatably worse because you aren't as bursty. However, you're getting the guaranteed fear and box damage now means that you guarantee that backstab extra damage.
That's true.
So I think you're probably making up for that lost burst damage, but if you really need to one-shot someone and they have QSS, this is worse.
Yeah. It's like I am more afraid of Shaco all around after this.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, you know, if they wanted to make people play Shaco more, you succeeded, right? Because people are going to play Shaco more if he's not banned.
I'm interested to see if we're going to see more AP or AD Shaco, because I think you can make a reasonable argument for either.
I mean, I think because the 2-shift poison, I think because they changed it from physical to magic damage, I think Riot's trying to encourage the AP Shaco builds.
Well, see, I think the opposite. I think if you're changing something that scales better off AD to magic damage, you're incentivizing physical damage because you're harder then to build against because a lot of your burst is the other damage type.
Yeah, this, I believe, is supposed to incentivize physical damage Shaco and just make him more dangerous during the early game, which I think it will do.
Okay, I'll rephrase that because I didn't phrase that very well. I think what Riot is encouraging is more of a mix between the AD builds and the AP builds, where like we're not going to see mostly AD builds anymore.
Guess what
Gunblade?
that means? It's Gunblade time.
Shaco. Yeah, everyone wants to see Gunblade Shaco.
The interesting thing though is like
Proto is still
Shift
better.
Poison, like the specifically like the backstab damage on 2-shift poison only scales off AP, and the backstab damage on autos only scales off AD. Like those are the only abilities that don't scale off both.
Proto belt's still better.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Yeah.
I think physical is still better.
I mean, I guess we'll find out. All I know is I ban him at the time now, but maybe that's just me.
Hey,
I don't know.
maybe I'm thinking Jungle Shaco is an AD champion, but laning Shaco
But lane Shaco
is an AP champion.
I think that's okay. I think that's dependent on A, what lane you're in, and B, your matchup. Like support is definitely AP, but like top lane, you can definitely go either.
Pink Ward would disagree, but we'll leave that one.
I've seen Pink Ward build other stuff. Like
I swear he only builds Proto Belt.
No, he builds crit sometimes too. I know, but regardless.
So let's wrap up.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, well, I want to wrap up the Shaco thing. Just briefly tell me if you think this is overall a buff or if it is overall like just a sideways shift in like how people are gonna like handle this. You know, like it's just like a lateral. You know.
Buff because all my friends are complaining about it already.
Woo-hoo! Yeah, Shaco buff.
It's certainly a buff.
I see it as just a straight hardcore buff. Like I'm so afraid of Shaco now. All right, so move on to Sona. It's just a quality of life change. They added a resource bar so you can figure out which of your abilities your passive currently has. Yay, good. All right.
Sona wasn't easy enough already. Sure.
She's already super easy to figure out. But...
That's a bit weird. For the baby girl.
She's definitely at least 20 though. Can we talk about it for a second?
I don't want to talk about
Why was that terminology used? I don't understand.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to go here. Let's just move on to Varus. Do this right now.
He gets base stats buffs. His mana regen and AD are slightly higher, and
let's go far.
Why buff? Why are you giving so many 80 carries 2 attack damage?
I don't get it either.
Like
they figured out it's a safe way to buff them without making them overpowered.
Here's the thing.
Varus is already
they're just gonna keep doing it.
Varus
is he though?
Yes.
Yeah, Varus is good.
Varus is good.
He's real good.
Like he's not Zaya and he's not Kaisa, but no one else
he's
is.
not either of them, but he's still good.
He's still good.
Yeah.
Like he's still very good. Like he's immobile, but he
But
has
here's the thing,
ridiculous
he
burst.
literally-
He scales into the late game super hard. The only thing
Yes,
he
he
doesn't have
does.
going for him is the mobility that those two have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this buff is increasing his base health by one. Like,
one.
why? Who cares?
Me?
Come on, Ryan.
Rounding numbers. Rounding numbers is good.
Yeah, I like the number being rounded.
All right,
I mean,
Victor time.
I only care about the numbers being whole numbers. If they're already a whole number, like fine, keep it a whole number. I don't care. Anyway, Victor. Victor's the last champ on the patch notes, and he also has like quite a few changes, just like Shaco and Garen, just not quite to that extent. So the general changes, they had 2 bug fixes. His hex core stats now update upon purchase instead of when Victor next levels up. That's nice, I guess. Augmented aftershock death ray missiles are now the same width as the initial missile. All right, that's cool, I guess. Nice, good job, right? You finally fixed these 2 bugs. Siphon power, his Q, the shield, 8% of his maximum mana plus 0.15 ability power is now 30 to 115 as you level up, and then plus 0.15 ability power. That is nuts.
That's a lot of damage.
Like that's a lot of shield on that Q now. That is nuts.
This, I believe, is to stop people from building Iceborne Gauntlet.
Oh, thank the gods.
Yeah, this is a specific nerf against Victor building Iceborne Gauntlet because that's really annoying.
Yeah,
Well,
the Q and the W changes strike me as we don't need Victor building having to build Iceborne or Rylai's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more the Rylai's than the
Still
really
build Rylai's though. Let's be real here.
I mean, yeah, I
don't
think Rylai's is still on the menu regardless.
I mean, it's an option, but now that your gravity well slows, I don't think you need the Rylai's. You have the Rylai's built in. You can just go Leandries now because Leandries is OP.
You go Leandries, and then you still build Rylai's like any Leandry.
It might change the build order, but I don't think that's an overly large.
Well, like I said, like Rylai's is still on the menu. Doesn't mean people are going to order it, but it's still definitely an item you think about regardless of these changes.
I mean, it used to be like a core Victor item.
Yes,
so,
yes.
And now I don't think it needs to.
Now it's optional rather than mandatory.
Core Victor items? Haha, that's funny.
PXD, okay, lock it. No.
All right, so
Chaos Storm.
So Gravity Field. We didn't talk about Gravity Field yet. I didn't read it.
Okay,
I mentioned it briefly. They updated Augment Magnetize, so direct hits slow enemies by 20% for 1 second. It does not proc on his Chaos Storm ticks. I'm gonna miss having enemies stunned by it are dragged into the center of it. I'm gonna miss that part of it. But I think the direct hit slowing enemies by 20% for 1 second, like, fine, cool. I guess that's neat.
It's way better. Like,
Support Victor?
Victor needs a lot of money to get off the ground. Support Victor feels a little meh to me.
Yeah, Victor needs to be played in a solo lane.
Now,
I mean, I guess you could.
Guys, I'm just stretching it. Don't worry.
I mean, I can definitely see Victor coming back to be played in top or mid. Like he can easily be played in both of those lanes now. Yeah, because like we've seen AP champs played in the bot lane, so I could see that as well. I just don't see support as being like maybe a few crazy people are gonna try that, but like I don't think it's gonna be a thing.
Hey, how you doing?
I know you're the crazy guy that would try it, but
I have literally played every champion support in this game. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let me check.
Right.
Olaf support.
Anyway, Chaos Storm.
Hey, that Q has a slow, man.
Okay, the only champions I haven't run it on because I have no mastery on them are Vayne, Renekton, and Diana.
Oh, Renekton's you can do Renekton support. That's not
Renekton
bad.
support. It could be
That's not bad.
nasty. Vayne?
Vayne could be good. I don't know. Anyway, back to Victor. His Chaos Storm. So they did this thing with it where it will now continue chasing champions even after Victor dies. And while I feel like that's going to be really annoying if you're playing against Victor, every single Victor player is rejoicing at this change. It can also now move over terrain. So if the person you put it on flashes over a wall, too bad. Chaos Storm is going to follow you over that wall, and that is amazing.
Slower than
Can we talk about?
It's not going to catch anyone.
Can we talk about how big this patch would be for like CLG if this was at Worlds in PoE? Can we talk about how?
Are we talking about how big of a patch this would be for Worlds if it came out last patch? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like
Don't they have,
every
like, 12
single
minutes
mid laner in Worlds would be practicing Victor right now. Like if this was on the Worlds patch.
Like
I saw
we
Shift
talked about, like
playing.
Garrett and Shaco having big changes. I actually think this is the biggest buff. Like this
Yeah,
is pretty
probably.
insane.
This
Like
character is-
this changes how everybody's gonna play Victor.
yeah.
Everything on this patch for Victor. Like I didn't even get. I just talked about the new stuff with his ultimate. Like I didn't even get into like the actual like other changes that they made. The tick cadence is instead of every 2 seconds, it's every 1 second. So it's ticking more often, dealing damage more often. Its ticks are now 6 instead of 3. They doubled it. The damage per tick, granted, because it's hitting more often, the damage got lowered. But like, who cares? Who cares?
Basically, okay, how the damage works is it's halved, but the AP ratio was not halved.
Yes.
So you'll get more damage if you hit with all 6
It's
ticks. That's
almost
just harder to do.
half. It's like 0.0.
It is 0.25 above being halved.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying, ZZ Dog, just so for our viewers, is that instead, like if it had been halved, if you hit people with all 6 ticks, it would have just broken even. Like it's not really any nerf at all. But because it was not halved, it's not going to break even. It's still like a change worth talking about and worth.
So it's 0.025 above being halved. So it's like not much above being halved. Like very slightly above being halved. But that's like an extra 50-ish damage if you hit every tick, I think.
Yeah, if you hit somebody with every tick, it's going to be more damage than it was pre. Exactly. So then on top of that, we have augment perfect storm movement speed. Instead of moving 20% faster, it now moves 25% faster. And its minimum movement speed is now 250 instead of 200. Its maximum movement speed is 375 instead of 300. So if you are slowing people down with your gravity field and then you put Chaos Storm on them, they're not getting out of that ever.
Yeah, it's much faster now.
So just I am so excited to practice Victor because Victor looks like he's going to be fun again.
Who's running a game after this?
I'm playing League as soon as we're done with it. I'm just gonna. I'm hopping in and I am trying out Lissandra and Vic as soon as we're done doing this episode.
There's 5 people in this call. There's 5 slots in the league.
We could actually totally do that.
Over to Locket.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Before we talk about Locket, like out of all champion buffs and nerfs, are we all in agreement that Victor's is the most significant?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so second most significant would probably be Shaco, and then Garrett.
Locket. It's Locket. It's none of the champions. It's Locket.
Yeah. I think Locket is probably...
Locket's debatably like a bigger buff than Victor.
Like the way that Locket is listed here, like my thought is just, man, I thought Locket was busted in TFT a few months ago.
It's gonna be the same kind of busted in your games because 3 people will build Locket and they'll.
Okay, let's look at it like this. Let's say your support will probably build it, your tank top laner will probably build it, and if you have a tank your jungle, then your tank jungle will build it.
Yeah.
What if you play a tanky mid laner like Galio where you can build him tanky? You can also pick this on Galio.
You build tank Galio in mid lane, you're trolling.
Yeah, you're actually.
Yeah, probably.
But you can do it though.
Like if you're O10 in lane as Galio, build Locket. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, don't be O10 in lane as Galio.
You should.
How do you get O10 in lane as Galio?
You're me. That's how you get O10 in Galio.
Galio is actually reasonably difficult to feed on.
I know, but I've done it before because I
have gone 0-16 on Rise, but I have never gone that bad on Galio.
Yeah, Galio is. I mean, he's hard to feed on unless you're actually into.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just read it because I haven't read it yet. We were just like hyping this thing up for the last like 3 minutes. So Riot says, I want to read Riot's quote on this because like this is all right. So looking to broaden the uses of the Locket, especially in a meta where there are less AoE burst champions.
Correct.
The change will also apply to Circlet of the Iron Solari. Like, great. Like not just the change to Locket, but also Circlet. Cool,
Let's
right?
Go,
thanks.
Orin.
Yeah, man. Like, Orin really needed that one.
Yeah, right. So like the shield strength, instead of being 30 plus 15 per level. It is now 120 plus 10 per level. This is a what, 400% buff?
This is like insane. Let me see something real quick.
If you're level 10,
you have to be level 18 for that 5 to level out. Like that extra 5 per level does not level out until you're level 18.
Yeah, this is just a buff.
Always better. It will never
Locket.
worse.
Locket is just better.
Yes, sir.
Like Locket, you could have in the past, if you were a support, you could have debated like, should I build Locket now? Should I build something else now? And now, if you're ever asking yourself that question, slap yourself and buy Locket.
The answer is Locket, unless you're playing Leona, then it's Gargoyles first, then Locket.
Like, you used to be able to debate, like, Zeke's is better than Locket on certain champions, depending on how far into the game it is. Not anymore. Locket is better. Every time.
Just buy Locket. Just do Locket. Whatever. Locket. The answer's Locket.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is
Locket
stupid.
is better.
Locket, better than Redemption, better than Athenes, better than Ardent,
Redemption is really good.
Redemption is good. Not as good as Locket anymore.
I love this next change, though. You want to read out the next one? Because it's
adding friends via social? Oh, God. This is so... As of 9, we're done after this. I'm not going into bug fixes. But people can look those up on their own if they want.
This time.
But we're running out of time. We only got 5
minutes. That's true.
So as of 9.20, players will no longer be able to find and add friends through social media. Well, okay. When clicking on the add friends icon, there will no longer be an option to click on buy social network and connect to your Facebook account to find friends. Was anybody doing that anyway?
I think I did it one time.
I think the reasoning behind this is like when that person like adds you after a match to flame you, they can't look you up on Facebook anymore.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
That's the only reason I can think as to why this was removed. Like, for what other reason was this added in the first place? And
it could be because of stuff on Facebook's end that Riot doesn't want to deal with, because that's always a thing that we're not ever going to know anything about, right?
Right.
I mean, that's
could
true.
Be because of that.
All right, High Noon skins. How we feeling?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the High Noon skins.
High Noon Hecarim is sick.
Like, just looking at the splash artwork for it, I love that Ashe is riding a demon horse. Can I just say that? Like, that's super cool looking. Obviously, that's not what it's going to look like in game. There's going to be no demon horse, but it's still super cool for the artwork, and I'll take
back animation. I don't know,
bro. High Noon Ashe is a dank looking skin.
Can we talk about how High Noon Ashe looks like Ashe from Battle Right?
You mean Overwatch?
No.
Because it also looks like Ashe from Overwatch.
They just, I think the Ashe character is like actually copy pasted amongst.
Here's the thing though. Can we talk about how this is like her 12th skin?
I mean, I'm all for more Ashe skins. I love
Ashe.
I'll take any skin she gets.
Ashe is one of those champions that like I kind of am happy with just being good most of the time. I think Ashe is one of those really healthy champions.
Yeah. Well, she didn't used to be, but she is now after she had that rework a couple years ago.
That rework, and then they just kept buffing her.
Yeah.
Which
I think Ashe
is really good.
I think Ashe is just one of those fan favorite champions, which is why she gets a lot of skins.
Ahri.
Yeah.
Ahri too. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Ahri as well. But
Ahri, Lux, who else?
Ezreal.
Way too many skins.
Ezreal, Misfortune has quite a few skins that are.
She's getting another one.
Because everybody likes the boobies.
Blitzcrank.
But Blitzcrank skins are always like kind of funny.
Yeah, they're
always
dumb. But the Halloween one is going to be like a ridiculous amount of. Warwick has like 11 too.
Yeah. Warwick has a lot of skins, although most of them are pretty terrible.
The advantage the earlier released champions have is that they were released with multiple skins as opposed to just one.
Not Zach. Zach had one skin in the beginning, and it was just a chroma.
I think that Zach was actually the first champion to be released without more than one skin.
Oh my god. He only had one skin for years.
I believe it was 3.5 years.
It was
before
years.
They released Pool Party.
Wait, Alistar has 12 skins.
Yeah, he's got a decent amount.
Yeah, most of them are ancient.
Yeah.
They're not black Alistar, golden Alistar.
They're
Yeah.
glorified chromas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
They're
Anyway,
all-
let's wrap this up. I mean, all of the high noon skins that they're coming out with here, the 3, they're all cool. I think. I think Ash is the standout between the skins, but
I think
the
Hecarim
Darius
is,
and the
personally.
Hecarim skin also look pretty cool. I like them.
Hecarim
Yeah.
is insane, dude.
So our basically our short notes, TLDR version of the patch notes. Play Victor, play Shaco, figure out what the hell Garen's all about now, and you can pretty much ignore the rest of the patch notes.
Yeah.
Oh wait, and Lysandra. Lysandra's also
Lissandra's better.
Yeah, Lissandra's
Tragically,
also
your
bad.
Facebook doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
I'd
Oh,
like
too
it.
bad. Oh, the 2 people that ever use that frequently.
Yeah. Ah, well for them.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so shorter patch notes. I mean, obviously because the season's winding down, it's not going to be a lot of changes because hey, that's what preseason is for. So I don't know about some of these. Like the Ivern one, like you said, after you kept talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. This is kind of weird because of the shield. But yeah. All right. Well, we'll see where things go from here. Is this the last patch before the season is over, by the way, or is there going to be a 9.21? Do we know? Has Riot talked about that?
There
I
should be one more.
I think they're gonna be I think there's gonna be at least one more, and then they'll go into preseason, kind of
Okay.
sort of slowly. Like they don't usually do it all at once nowadays.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
do
it's usually
all the
like 2
changes.
or 3 preseason patches.
Yeah, 2 or 3 patches with like longer intervals between.
Yeah, but that first preseason patch is always huge.
Yeah,
Alright.
they change what they're gonna change, and then go into recovery mode.
Yeah.
Okay, official stat line with the Prestige Misfortune coming out next patch. She will lead League of Legends skins with 14, with Ezreal in second with 13, with the next closest being 11 with like an 8-way tie.
Oh my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
Yeah,
I thought for sure
people like
Arya would
AD
always
carry
be
skins.
the leader of that race. But
Aria
No, I
only
thought
has 11.
Ezreal would be the leader for sure.
I mean, I
Ezreal is
love
the leader
Ezreal. I will
right
never
now.
turn down more. I love that boy, but you
MF
know.
has 12 right now, but she'll be getting 2 because of the Prestige.
Oh, that's right, because the prestige counts as like 2 different skins. I forgot.
I don't
about
know
that.
why they don't just make it a chroma. Like
Because
it's literally
spend your riot points for another skin,
No.
dude.
But dude, you can't even buy it with riot points. You have to buy it with prestige points.
I know, but you got it. But
Happy.
like you only get prestige points by spending riot points to buy things anyway. So that's
That's
weird.
fair.
All right.
But like
All right,
literally,
well,
they're just
let's-
glorified golden worlds chromas. Like
Yeah, I know, right?
Shh, we don't
All
need
right.
to tell them that.
Let's wrap this up, guys. I
Yeah.
mean, we're at our time here. It's 10 o'clock. In my time, I'm in Central Time, so it's 11 Eastern. It's been great doing the patch rundown. It's been great talking about the different divisions, but we're gonna wrap it up. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing Victor. Yeah. Anyway, chat, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for sticking with us through this like 2-hour endeavor that we just had. Let's all practice up and get ready for the hype that's going to be playoffs coming up next week. And we will see you guys on the next stream, whether it's a match or whether it's the next episode of UnCEALed. So until then, take care, everybody. Have a great night.